This right here was a fight that I would remember forever. And this right here was the reason a war broke out between our teams. So, why did this all happen? First, we must know the backstory of all of this. Okay, so it all started when I spawned in. I started by breaking a block, and I came over here and I met this guy named Power Thrower 507. Power Thrower 507 I just met, and I wanted to say hi to him, so here's what I did.
Not the best. Later?
I ran up to him and tried to catch him, and then I hit him. Then some diamond guy came up to me and started griefing me, and then killed him. Little did I know, Power Thrower would come back later. Then I meet this guy named Balloons5171. Me and Balloons were becoming friends because I followed him. In a bit you'll realize that we ended up finding a mineshaft together. So, once I find Balloons and get his attention, we become friends. So we just gotta wait a second until I actually find Balloons. And here we go. Balloons has a bone. He uses it as his weapon. That's Balloons' signature. So I take some torches because I need torches always. And I get a crafting table. Let me just skip past most of this. Most of this is long. Now, we find this guy named Ninja Boy. I actually knew Ninja Boy. We became friends early on in the game, in Lifeboat, before I started recording this.
I used to be really good friends.
Me and Ninja were friends, but Ninja was hiding in the cove for some reason. Little did I know that Ninja was planning something. They thought that I was fighting Ninja because hitting someone early on is known as fighting since you don't have weapons, but I was just saying hi. But we didn't have Diamond yet, so they didn't understand that. So we move along. Let me skip this and get to the point. We find Ninja hiding in a corner for some reason. He's saying, "Come down here." Little did we know that Ninja was actually had been farming players. I didn't see it, but I saw Ninja go on the other side, and then Ninja brought us to this place. He went to the wrong farm, so he brought us all around for a bit. So I went down to a little hole in Ninja was, and Ninja was just running around bringing us places. So I went back up, not knowing that Ninja just threw balloons in a little hole and was like, "Oh, Balloons fell down there, I'm gonna come with balloons." So I went down there and he shoved me down there, and Balloons was lucky enough to make it out. I don't know what happened to Balloons in the end, but Ninja farmed me in the end. Balloons went on to me not knowing who they are. Skip to here. I just had crossed the ocean on my new spawn, and I met these two people, Danix3000, who I ended up becoming really good friends with, and Angan, who just leaves us. So as you can see in the chat, Power Thrower is actually very much alive, which he ends up becoming a big character. So I'm going to skip to some important parts of how we become friends. Okay, so I had built a house, and I'm telling Danix that I built a house. Danix isn't paying attention to me. So I meet this guy named Nameskink, and he actually becomes a really good friend of ours. So just give Nameskink a bit. So he just comes, and Nameskink actually places down some stuff. Nameskink is actually Good, he already has a furnace, he has some tools, and Name Skink has some weapons, and I'm pointing to our house, not trying to hurt him. He just thinks I'm hurting him. But once I get them to go inside and see our house, it ends up being pretty good. They start placing items in our house, and yeah. So I'm going to skip to what happens next. So I end up making a house, and when I'm done making the house, something very unexpected happens right here. So it turns out that Balloons was actually alive and very much so knew who I was. Here's what happens to Balloons. He invited me to play Minecraft. Being as forgetful as I am, since this was a very long video to record, I had a whole new team now. I didn't really care for Balloons. And so I keep on building my house. So we see this guy called Tonsil My Head. Danix went to go welcome him. He was crouching to say hi, but he jumps off thinking that Danix wants to hurt him. Tonsil My Head later comes on to become a good friend of us, but Rosia Girl ends up being one of our best builders and ends up building our house in the end. Skip to now, nothing really happened. We have a first fight. Danix, for some reason, hits Name Skink trying to say hi like me, but Name Skink doesn't take that lightly. Name Skink doesn't know what they're doing, and then they start fighting each other for some reason. I hit Danix. I was mad at Danix for hitting him for some reason. We teamed on Danix, and Danix want to go run to Rosia Girl. I throw some bread trying to get Danix to be on a team. But Name Skink, as he is, wants the bread for himself. And Name Skink won't stop taking my bread. Name Skink heads over to Rosia Girl, who's building her base for a foster. And we come after Danix, as we are. I give Danix some bread. Danix is saying, I'll fight you. And yeah, that was our first fight. Not long after, we have another fight over Power Throw, who comes to us faster. I remember Power Throw, but I thought he was Ninja Boy for a second, since I had met him so long ago. Name Skink wanted to be his friend, but turns out Danix wasn't very welcoming. So Name Skink and Danix have a fight over Power Thrower. Here's what happens. I'll let you watch. Oh, I guess they don't like him either. This seems having to... No, don't fight. No side, stop. After Name Skink left, I really thought he'd be in the mines, because that's where he usually goes when he's sad. Danix ends up eliminating Power Thrower right there, and I find Name Skink looking out at the water. I look out with him, and this is one of the most confusing Minecraft moments in my life. Danix comes and they fall off, but when I look down, it's not, who is it? It's not Name Skink, it's Danix and Tonsil My Head, who ends up running away after Danix tries to kill them. A bit later, I end up coming to Rosie Gal's house because I found it to be nice. So I put down my torches that I had just recently collected, and we started our house. So I just built a nice house. And everybody's coming in. Danix comes in, then that Ackenbug guy comes in, and then when I'm replacing the other dirt place, Princess comes and kills me. What happened to the others? I guess we'll never know. Thank you for watching. If you like my videos, consider liking and subscribing.